everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Sharon and this is a channel that is dedicated to all things related to narcissism. I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on all types of topics related to narcissism, so if you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. I would really appreciate it if you gave the video a thumbs up. It's a free way you can help me out, and definitely don't forget to leave a comment because I like to read what you have to say. A few months ago, I was talking to Joe, and I was telling him that during the last few years of my entanglement with my ex, I grew to despise him. I loathed him. Everything about him disgusted me, from his looks to his fake personality. I saw him with wide open eyes. No longer was I seeing him as the man I used to believe he was, or the man I believed he could still be. I was seeing him for real, for who he really is, and I was ashamed of him. I was ashamed that he had no ambition, that he constantly lied, that he was a bad father, a bad husband, he had no hobbies, all he wanted to do was watch sports. It started to really bother me. I'm trying to raise children, I'm trying to live in a family environment, and he was just like the weak link. It was horrible. That was all he wanted to do, and I'm going to give you an example of something he did that used to drive the kids and I crazy. He was really into sports, so Red Sox, Patriots. So every day he would print off from the Boston Globe these articles on the Red Sox and Patriots. Then he would put them in his back pocket and carry them around with him all day and read these articles throughout the day. So he would literally be walking to go get the mail and he had this article like in front of his face. He would go to our son's baseball game. Now, he wasn't watching our son play baseball. He was reading his articles. It was very strange. He would do this when he was mowing the lawn. He'd always be walking with this paper in front of his face. It started to drive me crazy. Just little quirky things like that he did, or a serious fault he had. Everything about it affected me. And I hated him. Like towards the end, there was just nothing there. But when Joe said, then why did the silent treatment affect you so much? I was left speechless. Why did someone I was disgusted by have the ability to gut me? I was deeply, excruciatingly affected by the silent treatment. And I want to talk to you about that in today's video. I want to talk to you about the way that it was for me, what I learned, and what you can know if you are being given a silent treatment right now. I also want to talk a little bit about what happened to me the other day on the Zoom meeting between me, my attorney, my ex, and his attorney. I'll just give you a little bit of a sneak peek. The reason we had this meeting is we were trying to iron out some last minute things with the divorce. And I'll just say, when you hear that women have the advantage in divorce court, that has not been my experience at all. So I will discuss that at the end. So let's go ahead and start talking a little bit about the silent treatment. I'm going to begin by giving you some facts. Silent treatment is abuse. I mean, that's it. It's mental torture. Abuse isn't just physical. Being deliberately ignored, ostracized, isolated, that can cause crippling anxiety, fear, anger, resentment, you name it. You're invisible. You don't exist, and you feel that. Not only that, you're being trained like a dog or something. You're being conditioned to fall in line. Narcissists are keeping you exactly where they want you. You're not allowed to put any reality into a narcissist's warped mind. Reality upsets narcissists. And when you upset a narcissist, you are an enemy. You will have a target on your head and you must pay. You will pay. And silent treatment can be a way a narcissist chooses to behave. Now, silent treatments happen when you say something or remind a narcissist of something they want to ignore, when you're angry with them. For example, I was angry when I found out my ex stole money from my kids, silent treatment. And my ex got quite good at silent treatments too. He kept improving on his best times. A few hours 20 years ago became 2 full years with his kids and 7 agonizing months for me recently. And that's the thing with narcissists. Anything that they do now, they will still do in 20 years, except it will be much more vile. So here's an example of what a silent treatment looked like for me 20 years ago. Hi, honey, how was work? Honey, did you hear me? So-and-so, what's wrong? Are you okay? Are you mad at me? Did you have a bad day? Confusion to the highest degree for me. What was wrong? No, I grew up in a narcissistic home. My father's a narcissist, but he never gave a silent treatment. And my father always had way too much to say, way too much cruelty to say. Not my ex. He would just shut down. So finally, I would just go off by myself. And later, he would come up to me with this fake, "I'm sorry" grin. Like he was so cute. "Oh, I'm sorry. I was just having a bad day." And as a young and naive woman with absolutely zero clue to my reality, I easily forgot about it. He wasn't ignoring me any longer, and that was what mattered. And I was trained to avoid a silent treatment at all costs. I would literally watch what I said because I was so terrified of a silent treatment. Now, I could a lot of times predict what would put him in a silent treatment, but not always. Sometimes it would just be random. And I think probably what happened was that he would have a literal bad day at work, and somehow, I was a convenient person to take it out on. So it couldn't always tell, but usually, and we'll talk about that towards the end. One time though, so I told you that the silent treatment went from a few hours to 7 months. So let's fast forward 15 years, right? So here I am in my 15th year of marriage, and he confesses to me that he has $100,000 in credit card debt. Now, I say some very unkind but true words to him, and boom, silent treatment. Not for a few hours, not for a few days, for 7 long months. Now, during these silent treatments, and he did several that were multi-month long, he would go over the top talking to the kids. So he would come home let me just tell you how he typically was when he got home from work. He would come home from work and he had had a hard day. He needed time completely, even though he had time on the way home, like in the car, right? But he needed alone time. You could not disturb him for a half hour. He needed to rest and recharge. Then he would grace us with his presence. During a silent treatment, though, he was enthusiastic from the moment he went through the door. "Hey guys, hi guys, how you doing? Did you have a good day? Oh, I missed you so much. Tell me all about your day. I want to hear everything." So that's how he was with the silent treatment, as opposed to when he was just going to come in and ignore everybody. And the sad thing is, when I think about this today, it bothers me because I'm telling you, like, if you are in an entanglement right now with a narcissist, the way you're thinking isn't the way you're going to think when you are not involved with a narcissist. And I know some of you don't want to think about leaving the narcissist. I'm not really talking about that. I'm just saying, if you separate yourself, if you grow on your own, you will look at the narcissist completely different than you do right now. They are not who you think that they are. I guess I'll say that. Now, so here I am when my kids would be treated so kindly by my ex. Now, you know what? I feel like I'm going to throw up saying treated kindly by my ex. He would seem to people who had no idea that he was being a great and involved father. And I used to think, well, at least my kids have an interested father, that somehow they were benefiting, and that made it easier for me to deal with the silent treatment. It didn't occur to me that they actually had an abusive father and they were witnessing him and being affected by my punishment. My youngest came to me several times in tears asking me, "Why is Daddy ignoring you?" Those were some hard times. And my ex could ignore me so well while participating in life in front of me that I feared I was becoming unwell mentally. Each night, my ex would text me short texts, warning me that he was on his way home. So he hasn't talked to me for months, but he would still send me these texts, "Leaving now, in town." Like, that's all it would say. And I would feel terror about him coming home. I was afraid. And sometimes there would be hope. Maybe tonight he will speak. And I want to tell you something. In the middle of this 7-month silent treatment, there was one day. Now, just keep in mind, when you're dealing with a silent treatment, I used to believe that my ex was somehow giving me a silent treatment against his will. That I don't know how I convinced myself of this, but somehow I believed that was very possible. That the poor guy, poor guy, I know he really wants to talk to me, just something is keeping him from doing it. Well, this same man that I believed that, Christmas Eve, he comes home from work. And he said to me, he comes up to me in the kitchen. Now, here I am. Now, I had been suffering for months, but I'm trying to have like a nice Christmas for the kids. I'm trying to have my kids benefit during this horrible time. So here comes my ex in the house on Christmas Eve. And he came up to me and said, "You know what? Let's just put this away for a night and let's just have a great night." So I was like, okay. He was completely normal Christmas Eve, completely normal. He was talking to me. He was interacting with me. The next day, he went right back. I'm telling you, when you think about things like that, and this is what I experienced, I know that this happened. This is who this person is. They can control it. So don't make the mistake that I made thinking that somehow this isn't the same person that loves me. I know he loves me. He would never hurt me like this. I thought that too. But this is the same person who can control exactly what he's doing. And then I'll tell you in a little more about the things that he's doing that I have to deal with the divorce. So I would be hopeful every once in a while that he would talk to me, And I was so deeply traumatized by this happening during my entanglement that even today, if Joe and I have an argument or disagreement, every single time when Joe leaves the room, he says to me, I'm not ignoring you. I won't give you a silent treatment. We can talk right now if you want. I just want a few minutes to myself, but I don't need to. That's what he does. He does that for me because I was so affected by the silent treatment. And the other thing about the silent treatment to understand if you're being given it, it activates the same area of the brain that's activated by physical pain. It affects us deeply. And hear me on this. The narcissist knows this. And not only do they do it anyways, they do it purposely. They want you to feel bad. So let's think for a minute about who exactly gives a silent treatment. What type of person gives a silent treatment? A pathetic loser. This person at best is an immature punk and they don't deserve you. They're entitled and disgustingly vain. What we need to do when we're being given a silent treatment. Now, there's a couple things I would think of when I was being given a silent treatment. I wanted to understand what was happening. And mainly, I wanted him to stop. Those were like the main things with the silent treatment. And I would watch videos hoping for some magic word, something that would help get my ex out of a silent treatment. What I know today is this. Narcissists are pathetic. Just literally, like I just said, they're punks. They do not deserve you in the slightest. They are the equivalent of an overgrown toddler. Have you ever seen those giant Flemish rabbits or these huge rabbits? Like they look like they're 3 or 4 feet long, and you'll see somebody holding one and it's mammoth. That's like the narcissist, but they're like a giant overgrown baby. They're completely immature. Their brain is not fully functioning. Like in some way, it's almost like it's a mental condition. Like they're not all there. I've made videos before where I've told you that I literally believe that they're evil. So when you're being given a silent treatment, you are not being given a silent treatment by a strong, in control person. You're being given a silent treatment by a scared little child. When Joe said to me, and when I told him that I loathed my ex, and he's like, well, why is he bothering you so much when he gives you a silent treatment? Please consider that. Because today, when I think about that, I should have been, yeah, all right, good. Give me a silent treatment because I don't have to talk to you, loser. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what my mind should have been. Good, I get a reprieve from you. Instead, I was gutted. I mean, I went through moments where there were times I literally begged on my knees, my ex to talk to me. A narcissist loves that. I believed that my ex loved me. I believed that he did. I believed he loved me. He loved the kids. And when he'd give me a silent treatment, something was drastically wrong. This isn't who he is. As I stopped giving him narcissistic supply, his silent treatments went longer and longer and longer. I mentioned my kids got a silent treatment for 2 years. Yes, they did. My ex stopped talking to them for 2 years. After telling me, I told my ex that the kids didn't want to talk to him. He literally said to me, screw them. And for 2 years, it wasn't until I initiated the divorce that he suddenly decided that he wanted to talk to my kids. Now it's too late, but the 2 years, and I have to tell you something, I'm proud of my kids for that. I'm disgusted that my ex thinks it's a good idea or thought it was a good idea, appropriate to not speak or have any interaction with his children for 2 years. But one of the things Joe and I are trying to do with our kids is we say to each other, all right, we paid for them too. Our grandchildren will never know this. They'll never know this type of pain. We know it, our kids know it, but our kids, it ends here. We're raising them together so they can have like a nice home and have a family and see what's real. Thank God that my kids, when my ex was giving them a silent treatment, they learned, they know who a narcissist is, and they are not saying, oh, it's okay, or all right, Daddy, it's okay. And I know you didn't mean it. I know you love us. They're shutting him out. They're giving him I was gonna say stonewalling. That's what the narcissist does. They're no contact. Couldn't think of that word for a minute. My kids are no contact with their father because of the way that he treats them. That is a win for me. It makes me sad that this has happened with my kids and their father. So don't get me wrong on that, but he's abusing them. Like I said towards the beginning of the video, silent treatment is abuse. It's abuse. You're being abused. Somebody who abuses you isn't somebody who truly cares about you. It isn't, this person doesn't deserve you. So many times, when I think back to my ex and how I treated him, which was fantastic. And I know like a lot of you, like you can understand that. Like we treat this narcissist so well. We're codependent, we're primed, we're ready to do whatever we have to do. The narcissist takes full advantage. So if someone's giving you a silent treatment right now, you're being abused. Consider how you really feel about this person. I would be gutted by somebody that disgusted me. I should have been happy. So think about that. Think about what's really going on and what your reaction should be. Personally, this is a message to anybody who is early in a relationship. You're not married. If somebody gives you a silent treatment, run in the other direction. That is a huge red flag. I'm telling you, you will live to regret not doing that. Now, for those of you who are in the position where you are being given a silent treatment right now and you're searching, looking for videos for something to do, I'm going to tell you these are your choices. When it comes to a narcissist, first off, I don't believe that anybody should stay in an entanglement with a narcissist. I think narcissists destroy anybody who's with them. I understand not everybody can leave. I want to just put that up there because I do not advocate that anybody stays with a narcissist and accepts the silent treatment. But if you are desperate and you want to know what to do, I'm going to tell you the best thing that you can do if someone's giving you a silent treatment is not upset them in any way ever, if at all possible. So this means that when the narcissist does something wrong, you have to ignore it. Your narcissist steals money from your kids, you have to ignore it. You can't have any interaction with them. You can't have any disagreement with them. I mean, nothing. Like that's how it has to be. If you're being given a silent treatment now, I would not talk to the narcissist, not ignore them. Like if you want them to speak to you again, don't ignore them harshly. But I would say something along the lines of, because what would happen with my ex, when he was giving me these long silent treatments, months long, I wasn't playing the game. I wasn't begging him, pleading him. He was basically waiting me out. That's what he was doing. If you're with a narcissist, they're giving you a silent treatment to punish you. So you need to be punished. You need to appear punished. So you could tell the narcissist, you understand why they're up. Now, I don't advocate this. I'm like literally just trying to help somebody who is stuck and really, really wants to get out of this, who really wants the narcissist to stop the silent treatment. You're going to have to shame yourself, essentially. So you're going to have to tell the narcissist you're sorry, tell the narcissist you understand why they're upset, that type of thing. Do not cry, plead, beg, because that will only have them hold it out longer. You need to look as though you are sorry and just let the narcissist do their thing. Maybe do something nice to the narcissist, make a special dinner. They're probably going to ignore it, but they'll start to think that the punishment is working. That's how you can get out of this type of thing. You need to kiss their ass in order to get out of a silent treatment. But you need to consider, is this what you really want? Is this what you deserve? Is this what you want your kids to see? Silent treatments it's torture. I mean, that's what they do in prisons, right? You know what I mean? They'll put you in solitary confinement. That's what it is. And our kids are watching this. A lot of times, when you're in with a narcissist, it seems almost like you're in a jail cell with them. You're living in hell with this narcissist. You ever see, I was doing school with my son the other day and we were talking about, we were reading the book, The Scarlet Letter, and we have Hester and she has her baby in the prison with her. And that seems so absurd. That's kind of like how we are with our kids. Our kids are with the narcissist with us. They're seeing all this. They're learning. They're absorbing it like a sponge. we need to teach our children that this isn't okay. Would you be okay if your kids were abused this way? Don't let yourself suffer in a way you would be horrified if your child suffered. Now, one more thing I want to talk about, and I might talk a little bit more about silent treatment next week. So if you've been given a silent treatment, let me know. I want to hear what the silent treatment was like for you, and if you want me to do an additional video on it. I'm noticing that the video is like 20 minutes now, and I want to talk a little bit about what happened in court the other day. So just with silent treatment, it's abuse. If you are being given a silent treatment, you got to kiss the narcissist's ass to get out of that. But consider, is this really, really what you want? Is this what you deserve? No, it's not. So the other day, I had another meeting with my attorney, my ex, and his attorney. Now, I'll just give you the shortened version of this. I might talk about this a little bit more in depth when I have do the video with Joe over the weekend. But here we are, and my ex had some issues. So we have the child custody situated. So I'll have more to say about that once everything is done. I have a lot to say about that once everything is done. For right now, I'm just going to tell you, we have the custody arrangements, child support, everything with my minor child done. The issue really was that my ex didn't want to have, now my ex has $1 million life insurance policy. All right. He has his parents as the beneficiaries of it. His parents, by the way, who are multimillionaires. He doesn't have his kids as the benefit. So my attorney wanted my ex to have a life insurance policy with our minor as the beneficiary. And she was telling me this is also largely because, my ex has to pay child support. Well, this kind of would be covering child support type of thing if he had life insurance. So she convinced, now my ex has $1 million life insurance policy. What could that do for his children if he passed away? I mean, really? And who doesn't give that to their kids? Like, that's just, it's crazy. I can't even, Joe and I have gone over this. It is insane. So he has $1 million life insurance policy. He's not going to put our children on that. No. He's going to get a $30,000 life insurance policy to cover our son in the event of his death, because that's roughly how much child support he'll be paying between now and when our son turns 18. So there you go. So my ex is doing 30,000. Like that's so crazy to me. I can't understand that. But there was health insurance. My ex didn't want me to stay on the family health insurance plan. Now in Massachusetts, where he works, there is, if you agree to have your spouse on the family plan, they can stay on. They thought you can still be covered. So that was a health insurance issue. No. My ex wants me to pay $160 to him every single month to keep me on the plan. So basically it's one amount if it's just him, another amount if it's him and the minor child, another amount if it's him, the two kids, and another amount if it's me, and there's an additional $159. I have to pay the $159, so I need to mail him a check every single month for the health insurance. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, well, that's a deal for health insurance. My ex has stolen so much from me. Do you know I have to pay him $10,000 at the end of this whole thing to pay part of the credit card debt that he hid behind my back? So it was just one more thing, and literally I haven't gotten anything that I asked. You know what? No, I shouldn't say that, because child custody went my way. But everything else, nothing went my way. My attorney didn't fight for me literally for anything. It was just, well, yeah, I know, but then we're going to have to go to court, or I don't know about that. You might not be able to win on that, or he's not going to agree to that, and then you're going to have to come up and go to court. I mean, I kept hearing this. So literally, I have to pay him money. I have to give him $10,000. I have to pay him $160 every month. And my ex decided, all right, fine, he'll put the minimum life insurance policy for a child. That's it, nothing else. He also hasn't put the house on the market, which he was supposed to put that on the market July 1st. There's no repercussions, nothing. So basically, of everything that happened, my ex got everything he wanted. The child custody went my way, and he does have to give me some child support, which I really wanted because my ex stole money from the kids. So I wanted to be able to replenish that. But yeah, I was pretty disgusted about that money with the life insurance and having to pay him for the health insurance after everything that he's done. And he's never admitted, not once, what he's done. It's all my fault, 100%. What bothers me is every single, giving him that $10,000. Oh, also, he gets to claim our son in taxes for next year, by the way, even though our son doesn't live with him. So he's insisting on that too. So I'm going to lose money there. I'm starting a career over. He makes 6 figures. but instead he insists on getting that tax money. He won't go against that. He was only taking that small life insurance policy. I have to pay him $160 every month because of the health insurance. It's insane. It really bothers me. And I was very upset about it the other day. And there's more to it too, and I'll talk about that later. But Joe's like, Sharon, you know what? We just got to get the hell away from these things. Just get away. Just do it. Get away. Who cares? Whatever. He is going to have a miserable existence for the rest of his life. He's nothing. This is his last hurrah. He wants to show you that he's so big and strong, but for the rest of his life, he has to live with the fact that he lost his family. So I know he's right on that, and that did help me feel a heck of a lot better, because I was really, really upset. It was actually cute because I was in our daughter's room, and I was on Zoom with my attorney, and I was texting Joe, and I'm like, oh, I'm so upset. A second later, he like comes right in the door. Like it was so romantic of Joe. So I wanted to tell you what happened there. Joe and I are going to make a video this weekend, so I hope you stay tuned for that. And thank you, everybody who's been buying t-shirts. It's exciting. I get this email saying that somebody bought like a t-shirt, or somebody bought a hoodie yesterday, so thank you so much. So I'll put the link underneath if you want to support the channel. That'd be awesome. And other than that, I hope everybody has a wonderful day, that you stay blessed, you stay well, and you stay narc-free. God bless everybody. I'll see you Monday with Joe.